And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. And if you're coming back, oh boy, we have a really good video today. So, at first when it came out, I thought of it as a trailer, but then it's not really a trailer, as it is probably a cluster, and it's just like, you know, it's a hype. It's a hype video for the next coming chapter. Now, you obviously seen the title of the video, and I know y'all just don't want to accept it. As much as I don't want to accept it as well, it's probably the truth. And by probably, I mean probably like 95 to 98% the truth. Yes, this is the post-Honkai Odyssey has always been part of it. You see, what MiHoYo did is they just brought in the beginning, and then they made a connection. So this is where we are right now. This is how it's gonna end. And with its ending, the start of the new game is gonna be. But until we reach that ending, we're gonna fill out the gaps. This is a lot for shock value. And at the same time, I personally don't mind it. But, I mean, it was done well. But the problem is the ending itself. The ending made everybody upset and hated it. We know that Kiana is gonna, is not gonna be with us. And then until we reach that point, this is the trailer. So, I know I'm beating around the bush, but what I'm trying to say is, this is the end. So what we are watching right now is the end game. Is just the end of Honkai as Honkai Impact 3rd. So let's just watch it without further ado. Let's just watch it and then comment on it. See, okay, first things first, I noticed something. Otto's eyes are pretty different. Watch this part. Okay, we know that he is now defeated. See, the same thing of going from the end and then filling through the back. Obviously, those looks like souls. I'm thinking it's the after end. I mean, we see a big cross. That cross usually gives the entrance of just going into the end. So that's him dying right now. And then this. Look at his eyes. Those are the eyes of either the Herrscher of Domination. 2, he's already given up. 3, he's not in his body anymore. Like, he's leaving it. What we are seeing right now is not even Otto's body, which probably doesn't explain much, but I'll tell you more about it later. Future Carol here. I realized that after a lot of thinking that this Otto that we see is actually Otto in his body, but probably before his body enters the actual realm, it's probably gonna be either one, it's a metaphor for him, like walking in his body as it is, or 2, it's his actual body, and that's what we're gonna see in post Honkai Odyssey. So it's a very blurred line, but what we know is the Otto in post Honkai Odyssey is gonna be the Honkai archives, and they're gonna be missing an arm. So whatever you see in the video, take it with a grain of salt.
综上所述，本人奥托阿波卡利斯，自即日起辞去
Resign
天
as a
命主
Shisco
教一职，
overseer.
并彻底退出组织。
Okay, so in this part, a couple of things as well. Obviously, Otto has resigned, but we know Otto, if he resigns, he's not gonna resign from Shiskel to something less. He's not gonna be a commoner, and he's not gonna accept being a Herrscher out of nothing. So what he's probably trying to do is he's trying to become the will of Honkai. That is exactly my thought. My thought is will of Honkai is actually a jurisdiction of some kind. And because it's weakened, the only thing it can do is just manipulate humans who were mistreated because they are mentally weak, and then they could give him the Honkai power, and then they turn them into a Herrscher. So the will of Honkai itself cannot fight. But Otto can. And Otto will probably do. That's why what I'm thinking is he will amend with the will of Honkai and the imaginary tree. Obviously we can see doubt. I don't know if it's doubt anymore. I don't think it's doubt. Especially from backstory, we know that she knows all of what Otto does. And she knows that this is the best of the worst. So she is fully accepting to whatever is happening right now. I think he's welcoming Teresa. Teresa will take over. She's gonna be the next overseer. And that makes sense. So when I saw Hyperion coming back to Shiskel, I was like, yeah, those couple of chapters that are coming up. And by couple I mean like probably like 10 more chapters, 6 more chapters, something in between. So we are at the end of the project basically, and it saddens me to say that or to see that, honestly, but still. Let's talk a little bit about what brought this to be, okay? What would be the reason of Hyperion coming out of nowhere and then going for a full-on attack? If, first of all, they didn't know that Otto had the core of domination. So a catalyst of some kind ended up telling them that Otto has the core of domination. Second of all, why would they attack Otto when they went on a peaceful treaty with, you know, Anti-Entropy, Shiskel, and World Serpent? Well, probably Otto initiated something and they have intel on what's gonna happen next, so that's why they are trying to stop him. Third of all, we don't see World Serpent here, we see May later. And with seeing May later, that means that World Serpent has taken their hands off, one, or they have already been defeated, or they gave up on the whole project immediately, and now we see May acting on its own. So that's why we are preparing for a battle. And then you see like the full determination is like, we're gonna stop you no matter what. This time is either life or death. Okay, now this part, this. Okay, it got me very, very intrigued. Hold on. Okay. You can see those dolls. There's something very important about them. She's holding Seely's, you know, the other Seely's weapon, and that shows that she has mastered her abilities and she has mastered her stigmata. So she can basically switch between Seely, Valiona, and their weapons intertwined. So it's not, there's no clear line in between. They can take over each other, they can basically use each other's weapons, and so on. Another thing is those dolls. Obviously those dolls wearing masks, which shows that those are clones, and they are clones of Otto. So I'm thinking if you take off the mask, you'll end up seeing Otto under it. But it's not the real Otto, so that's why they are wearing masks. Another thing, I saw them, and I was like, God, those are the same ones that were in the second eruption. And I know everybody probably have guessed it by now, but nobody asked why. Why were they in the second eruption then? Well, the answer has been like probably hinted at us a lot. I mean, I was able to deduce it, so you might be able to deduce it. But if you go through the imaginary tree, the timeline is blurred. So basically you can go travel back and forth in time. You can just go back and forth in the imaginary tree. So it could be the Otto that we see right now that got the core of domination has been the same Otto who went back in time and prepared all of the events forward. So it goes on to be a full loop. Whatever we're watching now has never been the future. Like, Otto has already prepared for that future a long time ago. And he went through the past and prepared it, probably went through a different bubble universe and prepared it. That guy is insane, but not dumb. I'm telling you. Okay. God, it's insane. It's menacing. It's absolutely menacing. Okay, yep. We see Hua is able to, you know, use her power of sentience the whole time. I see that this is the domain of sentience, but I don't see the Herrscher of sentience. And see, it's very interesting because we see the divine key and it's being used. That means it's before the divine key was broken, so it's either memories or it's just from another universe. Right. Okay, and she says, long time no see. So it's not like they have met, like, you know, it's not like she died and came back. It's just long time no see, as if she was somewhere. And she might be the third S-rank Valkyrie. I'm guessing she is the third S-rank Valkyrie. She's very connected to Otto through the web novel, the visual novel that was never translated for some reason. We can see that she is very connected to Otto. And if we establish that Otto can go back and forth in time, that means he might have already prepared her to be there. And her ability could be part of Herrscher of the Sentience. You know, Herrscher of Domination can take stuff from the Herrscher of Sentience. So maybe it gave it to her. Or maybe she has the ability to deal with sentience to begin with. So honestly, I can see that. I can see her being the third S-rank Valkyrie. And then we have this herd, a full-on herd. Yeah. So we can see that Durandal has now ability to control Honkai beasts. Right. This is the tree. And honestly, I don't think this is all of the tree. I think it's just a branch. Absolutely just a branch. Yep, he's on top of that branch. So what I think he's doing right now is not the actual tree itself. Is probably the branch that takes over this bubble universes. And then Kiana is dead set trying to actually defeat it. That shows that whatever is gonna happen next, if Otto takes on the will of Honkai and becomes it would probably fit the narrative, but it won't fit a good ending for everybody. So my thought is Kiana will take over and she will become the next will of Honkai. I think the main reason why Otto wants to be the will of Honkai is because at that point he doesn't have to worry about cores. So even if he can't manage to get a Herrscher of Death, he will become the Herrscher of Death and he will become, like, bring Kellen back. So I think he's just taking a shortcut, and that's probably the best answer he got. And by connecting whatever Durandal did with her bubble universe to the imaginary tree successfully, he'll be able to become the will of Honkai, and he will connect this bubble universe to the imaginary tree successfully and get Kellen back. That's why he wants to mend with the tree. There is this possibility as well of him actually bringing Kellen as a Herrscher, whether it was on purpose or it's not on purpose, but there's this high chance of Kellen coming back as the Herrscher of Binding, because I was looking through the past history and the memories that were for the moths, and the Herrscher of Binding of last era looked very, very similar to Kellen. More importantly, it's a way to bring it as a pseudo Herrscher. Syrian did it and brought her friends back as a Herrscher, so there's a lot of possibilities, there's a lot of chances to do that, and that's why it's going to be tragedy. It's the tragedy of binding, as it was mentioned over and over again. She was accepted and blessed from the very beginning as a successor, as a loved one, as a queen for the will of Honkai, so what makes her not compatible enough, you know? It's time to fulfill our pact. This look, it's not good. It's time to fulfill our pact, old friend. So, if this old friend, I personally think it's the Honkai archives. So, and those are all of the memories. What I think is happening is Otto will stay away from his body, and then will leave the Honkai archives take over. It's obviously going to be defeated. Now we know that the Honkai archives said before through the manga, through the post-Honkai Odyssey manga, that I was able to snatch a body, one of his clones, before he was fully defeated. But yeah, Otto will die. Maybe when he is getting connected to the actual tree, Kiana will be able to intercept it and can just divide it, just end it. See? Okay, what they did there is they actually came in and prepared for the climax. So that's gonna be the climax. And that shows him in a place where he's fully strong. He's fully he's got it. He's on top. But then it takes us back to where he is defeated. That shows that whatever has happened didn't go as he planned. He's obviously beaten up. We can obviously see that he has his Herrscher form, which takes me back to my idea. It's either that this is his soul leaving his body, and his soul left the way it left the body, so without an arm. Just think this is his soul in between those souls going to the afterlife. And because he died as a Herrscher, his eyes are still as a Herrscher, and then that's why he's not bleeding. But his actual body does not bleed. So it's a very blurred line at this point of whatever is happening right now. But that could fully explain why there's a mechanical arm in post-Honkai Odyssey. I'm coming, Kellen. This is the end. This is the end of Honkai Impact 3rd as Honkai Impact 3rd. And then whatever the next jump that will happen is gonna be post Honkai Odyssey. So I can see this going on for, I don't know, maybe 6 more months, but nothing more. Just it. Still, whatever the truth he found in the Elysian realm, I honestly don't know. But yeah, it's a lot to take in, that's for sure. We're gonna go through the jump probably of post Honkai Odyssey, as I said. And for everyone who doesn't believe that post Honkai Odyssey is it is the truth, please get out of your dreams. Nobody wanted to believe that Himiko is dead until they literally made a funeral for her. And as hard it is to believe, just remember that MiHoYo really wants your tears. It wants them a lot. That's probably will be it. Now, what is the thing that came out with the new chapter coming up? So we know that there's a new open world that's gonna happen in Vienna, about the immortal blades and how it was formed. Maybe he went through time to save Kellen at that point and then come back. So there's a lot to look into. There's a lot to look forward. At the end, probably all of them will end up giving their cores for Kiana, and Kiana will become the will of Honkai. She's not going to be sealed on the moon. Honkai power will be sealed on the moon, but probably not Kiana. But that's all I've got for you guys today. Tell me what do you think in the comments down below, and make sure to join our Discord. We do a lot of chatting like that, so make sure to do that. And I'll see you in another video.